The Deluxe Edition Network, also known as The Den, is an incredible podcast network that offers a wide variety of entertaining and informative podcasts.
With a lineup of shows covering various topics, such as interviews with a wide variety of guests, history, music, relationships, true crime, and so much more. The Den provides content that caters to a diverse range of interests.
The hosts and guests on the Deluxe Edition Network demonstrate a deep passion and expertise in their respective fields, making each episode on each show engaging and thought-provoking.
The network fosters a sense of community by encouraging listeners to interact through live chats, social media, and forums, creating an inclusive environment for discussion and sharing opinions.
With its commitment to high-quality production, the shows in the Deluxe Edition Network continue to captivate and entertain its ever-growing audience.
Whether you're a podcast enthusiast or someone looking to explore new topics, The Den is a fantastic platform to dive into and uncover fascinating insights from experts in their fields.
The Deluxe Edition Network is the home of independent awesomeness.
To find all these great podcasts in one convenient location, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Films and Fermentation. We've been gone for a little while, but we are back with our Season 9 premiere. This is episode 152, the Season 9 premiere, Films That Time Forgot. This is the 8th time we have done this topic, Films That Time Forgot. It's one of our favorites. It's why we always save it for our season premieres. Like I said, this is Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Mike forgot who he was for a second there.
No, I said I was Mike right off the bat.
Right off the bat, there was a hell of a hesitation there. I thought maybe you had to think about it.
No, I think we're lagging a little bit late.
I think we're just out of practice. It's been a couple weeks. We're three friends like talk shit about movies while getting shit faced. In this episode, welcome to the Season 9 premiere. As I have said, we're kicking things off by revisiting one of our favorite recurring topics, Films That Time Forgot, Part 8 in the series. Grab your drink of choice as we dive into these forgotten cinematic gems, whether they're cult classics, underrated masterpieces, or suddenly realized pieces of shit. We're here to bring them back into the spotlight. Cheers to another season of movie magic and memorable brews. And as I was saying to Mike and Kevin, our little pre-show meeting here, I love this topic, and I also hate the topic because I love revisiting movies that I haven't seen in a while. I hate when those movies don't live up to the reputation they had when I was younger. Don't forget, you can drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. Become part of the Films and Fermentation family by supporting us on Patreon or buying our merchandise at teespring.com. We are part of the Deluxe Edition Network at the deluxeeditionnetwork.com, The Den. You can check out our podcast and all the other podcasts at The Den by going to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. And make sure you check out the podcasts of the month for the month of June, Barrel Aged Chicks and the Barstool Film School.
Hey, this is Sammy from Barrel Aged Chicks, and I'm here with Yen.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing, Yen?
I'm feeling amazing.
Yes, you are. Well, what we're here to do today is talk about where you can find Barrel Aged Chicks. You can find us on Google Podcasts,
Apple Podcasts,
Spotify,
Anchor,
and Good Pods.
Yep.
On the Barrel Aged Chicks, we have myself, Sammy. We have
Yen,
of course. And then we have Snow, Crystal, and Harley.
Yep.
We enjoy talking about everything from movies to being current moms to being just the ladies of the Barrel Aged Flicks boys and their shenanigans in general.
Please join us without kids. Thank you.
Yes, our podcast is explicit content, so it is definitely not for little ears, but come out, let your hair down, and hear the chick side of things.
Whoop, whoop.
It's a shit show.
Please join us. We need some mom time.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Dylan.
And I'm Cameron.
And we're the hosts of Barstool Film School, a conversational comedy podcast about the very best bar movies. You know, the ones that are like perfect to watch when you're hanging out in a bar with friends. Now, I'm a writer and a film school washout.
And I'm a bar owner.
So we gotta know what we're talking about.
You would hope.
Tune in every other week, wherever you get your pods, as we take on a new flick.
And we will pair those flicks with some cocktails.
To see if they pass the bar. Now, what do you say, Cam? Shall we pour ourselves another round?
Let's do it.
All right.
Again, make sure you check out those podcasts of the month from the Deluxe Edition Network, Barrel Aged Chicks, and Barstool Film School. Well, we're back in the swing of things here with our Season 9 premiere, so it's time, as always, to talk about what are we drinking this evening? Mike, you just came back from vacation. Why don't you tell me what you're drinking, sir?
I am drinking something that's never been drank on this show before. I am
water.
Drinking... No, water hasn't been drinking on the show. I am drinking what's called Devil in Disguise. It is a cherry mead with pink peppercorns and honey. It is a mead. I am having mead, gentlemen. This is from the Silver Hand Meadery in Williamsburg. It is a 12.2 alcohol by volume. Very good.
I do not get along well with mead. One of the worst drunks I've ever been was a night full of mead.
Sweet.
I don't need no mead.
I don't need no mead because I don't need to be shitting myself and throwing up on myself ever again.
Wait, was that at Chrissy's wedding?
No, that was different. That was whiskey, then vodka, then gin, then beer, then vodka again.
Okay.
We were at Katie and I when we were dating.
Mead to me just tastes like a honey wine.
Yeah, it's very thick. It's a thick honey, based liquor.
It's not really that. This is not really that thick. This is very thick. This is thin as wine.
Like Katie and I went to a party one time where this guy was like sampling different meads, and I got a little overboard with the sampling and turned into a night that I still regret 20 some years later. I am drinking. I'm kind of themed tonight in that my movie that I'm doing for Films of Time Forgot, there's a bottle of whiskey in the film that plays very heavily into the plot. So I went with the whiskey tonight. And I was using whiskey out of this wonderful flask that Mike got me. But I have already finished the whiskey that is in this flask. Not tonight. I've been kind of, each night I've been kind of, just sipping from it when I get home from work and all. So I had to crack open the bottle. I had to crack open the bottle so I could get more. So I'm drinking straight bourbon whiskey, Mackenzie's from the Finger Lakes Distillery in one of my favorite places to go, to Finger Lakes. This is a straight bourbon whiskey, as I said, that's 45.5% alcohol by volume. It's a high rye bourbon. One of my favorites. It's
nice.
And I, mixed in a little bit of ginger ale for color because I don't want to go too overboard. So.
Well, gentlemen, it's a new season, new reason to clean out the fridge. So I cracked down to my last 2 beers, which is just a Corona Premier. Sorry, Pop, this was being saved for you, but you wouldn't want it anyway. It's already past its expiration.
You're drinking one of your father's regular beers?
That's right, his regular beers. And the Mexican lager with lime from Great Lakes.
Nice.
So these are my two of choice, and that should give me a clear shelf to restock for the summer. So
I have nothing against Corona. I like a good Corona once in a while.
I do too.
Are you a lime in the Corona guy, or only when it's available?
When I have lime, I don't put like just the lime juice in. So,
All right, Mike, I had not read your facts yet before the show started, so I'm learning them as you are giving them now. So, what happened this week?
This week in film history. In 2003, animated Fishtail Finding Nemo, directed by Andrew Stanton and starring Albert Brooks and Ellen DeGeneres, premieres in the U.S. and Canada.
And we had done a favorite Pixar film episode a while back. Finding Nemo was on all of our lists, a little higher for some than others. I love Finding Nemo. It's one of my favorite films. And it's funny because, like I said, I hadn't seen this before we started recording. I read something earlier today, or heard something rather earlier today, that made me think of fan theories. And we had done an episode on film and fan theories before. And I said it's a topic we need to revisit at some point, because I heard one about another Pixar film, Frozen.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great theory. I love this. And this is why we got to revisit this one day. So you know how people think that Walt Disney's head is frozen?
Yes.
Yes.
Cryogenically until they can.
He is cryogenically frozen under Pirates of the Caribbean. Yes.
Yes. The fan theory is that Disney developed and released Disney's Frozen mainly to fuck up the Google SEO, so that when people search out Disney Frozen, it keeps giving them the movie and pushes Walt Disney's Frozen head further down the search list. And it's nothing to do with Finding Nemo, but it just made me think of it because I'd heard that earlier today. What's your next factor, Mike?
In 2004, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the third film based on the books by J.K. Rowling, is released in the UK cinemas.
What's your opinions of the third film?
I enjoyed the third film. That's when I started
Gary
getting
Oldman
darker.
one. Yeah.
Mhm.
I remember when I saw it in the theater thinking to myself, well, it's starting to get a little dark.
That's when Chris Columbus stopped directing, and stopped treating it like a children's movie. And I forget who the third director was.
I don't
It's
remember
not a
the third
children's
one.
book, right?
What's up?
Not a children's. Well, yeah,
book,
I mean,
right?
the books. The
books
books
are in a children's book? No, I get that. Yeah. It starts off with him at 11. It ends with him at what, 18?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
And I was trying to say, like, the books kind of mature with the characters.
Yeah.
This movie was directed by Alfonso Cuarón, who, is a guy that, does not usually direct children's films. He directed Gravity, Children of Men, Roma, which are all very serious films. And so you can kind of see that in The Prisoner of Azkaban. Plus, it's the one that brings Gary Oldman into the franchise for us, and excellent addition he is.
You can never go wrong with a Gary Oldman in any franchise.
No. And your last one, I'm laughing as I'm looking at this because I actually just watched this about 2 weeks ago. Right around the time we did our last episode.
2014, Seth MacFarlane's A Million Ways to Die in the West is released to theaters. MacFarlane's first live-action role on the big screen.
People die at the fucking fair. It's not a great movie, man, but I actually really enjoy it. If you're a fan of like the Family Guy sense of humor, like A Million Ways to Die in the West is pretty enjoyable. And there's a great little 30-second cameo from Doc Brown. Where he's hiding the DeLorean in the shed in the Old West. Million Ways to Die in the West. Plus, it's the only movie where you get to see Charlize Theron stick a daisy in Liam Neeson's asshole.
Don't know if I need to see that.
You haven't seen Million Dollar? Oh, it's funny, man. It's a funny movie. People die at the fucking fair.
And I know we've been off for a while, guys. I'm wondering, did we mention Dabney Coleman's death?
Oh, that's right. That just happened 2 days ago, I think, right?
Well, May 16th.
May 16th. Oh, so it was a while ago. So yeah,
about
Dabney
a week
Coleman.
or so. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we haven't recorded it in a while, so yeah, it happened over that. Yeah, Dabney Coleman, who I swear I thought was dead already like 20 years ago, passed away in May 16th. Yeah,
but he's in some of my favorite movies.
Well, he's in Cloak and Dagger.
He's in War Games.
He's in War Games.
9 to 5.
He's in a movie about a talking horse with Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh, what was that one?
I think it's called Ed.
No, it wasn't Ed.
Eddie.
Was it a horse or was it a zebra?
Was it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not.
He was in all these movies that time forgot.
I'm not. Yeah, he very much so, because I'm not really up to date on my Dabney Coleman films. Hold on. Dabney.
You Got Mail.
Coleman. That's right. He is in You Got Mail. He plays Tom Hanks' dad. Let's see here. War Games, You Got Mail, 9 to 5, Tootsie. I mean, those are all classics there.
Hot to
Trot was the name of the film. Yeah,
that's right.
He was on Boardwalk Empire for a little while. He's on Law and Order.
Dragnet.
Yeah. Hot to Trot with Bobcat Goldthwait. Yeah, and it's about a racehorse that talks.
He was in the Muppets Take Manhattan.
Muppets Take Manhattan. I'm trying to think who he was in that.
They say he played Martin Price.
I think he may have been. Remember, like the scene where Kermit loses his memory and works at like a law firm or like an advertising firm or something like that.
Where he's
I think he's one of the bosses.
Phil.
I think he's the boss at the company. Inspector Gadget.
Dabney Coleman.
Dabney Coleman's one of those like you know him, but you might not know his name kind of actors. Like we know him because, like you said, he was in some movies that we like. But
Wait. Muppets Take Manhattan. He was the one that grabbed the chicken. Remember?
He's the one.
He was yes.
He was the pet shop. Was he the guy that like brings the dog into the pet shop and that Rolf works at?
He goes and he's trying to back out of the room and he's got the chicken. He goes,
oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Shit, I got to rewatch Muppet Take Manhattan now. If anything, just so I can watch the tandem bike sequence between Miss Piggy and Kermit. The magic of practical effects.
That was a great Muppet caper.
No, they do that in Manhattan too.
Do they?
Or Central Park, yeah.
How about that?
What you saying?
I have one thing to add to this.
Yes.
I saw it on Facebook while I was away, and I didn't get to put it on here. But last week or 2 weeks ago, we had 3 famous horror actors have birthdays.
3 famous horror actors?
2 of them have horror actors. 2 have the same birthday. One was like a day or 2 before it. It would be Peter Cushing, Vincent Price, and Christopher Lee.
Oh wow!
All have birthdays within the last, and they'll all be over 100 by now. But
and Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing both played Dracula at some point or another.
Yes,
in the Hammer Dracula films. Speaking of movies, Kevin and I were talking the other day. Christopher Nolan's Interstellar is being re-released in theaters for its 10th anniversary.
10th anniversary, yeah.
And Kevin and I had talked about maybe going to see that as a trio, and then doing a retro movie review together afterwards for an episode. Okay. Fun little guy summer trip, and then we'll go to Kevin's pool afterwards.
Sounds good to me.
Mike, you have a must-try beer and craft vacation to tell us about?
I got to tell you all about my must-drink vacation. Yes. Well, we went down to Williamsburg, and we went to Busch Gardens, which was their food and wine festival while we were there, of course. So I'll start there where I start drinking. I had a Blue Hawaiian there, a frozen blue Hawaiian. If you don't know what that has in it, it has vodka and coconut cream and pineapple. I had from Center of the Universe Brewing. Yeah. From Center of the Universe Brewing Company, a toucan tropical lager. Very fruity for a lager. It was not. It wasn't
about it
bad.
being called a toucan lager.
Then I had
Toucans sell Fruit Loops, fruity beer.
Yeah. Well, also it's from Center of the Universe Brewing. Okay. Not I had we had Bahama Mamas, we had a Bandini.
This is just the first day, right?
This is the first day. Soul
Mike was
Spirit
sending us picture updates throughout the week.
They
They did seem to come one right after the other. I mean,
That was yes.
I texted
this was
you back. I was like, pace yourself. I thought he was doing
Well-
shots.
Hey, well, I had what was called a Soul Spirit, which is tequila, Malibu rum, banana, and lime. That was tasty.
That sounds good.
That sounds good.
That's pretty much what I had at the Busch Gardens Food and Wine. There's a toucan topical lager. Then I went to we went out to in Yorktown. We went out for lunch, and I got a flight there where I had Firefly Nights, which is a pale ale. It was okay. Goats in Space from Two Silos Brewing Company. I just had to get it for the name.
That definitely falls in line with like things I would order for the name. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is an Imperial IPA. For an IPA, it wasn't terrible. I had Mango Cart from Golden Road Brewing Company as a wheat beer. I've had better wheat beers. And then Uberon Eclipse Citrus Wheat Beer, which was a pretty good wheat beer. Then we went to the meet. Then we had was it Thursday? No, Wednesday.
See,
Wednesday.
it damages your memory, man. That's why you don't drink so much.
Wednesday was the day I went drinking because we started at a meadery, and we both got a flight four of each. So I had a taste of 8 different meads that day before noon.
I was going to say, there's no way Adrian finished her flight.
She finished a couple of those. If you want to know what I drank, you can see it on that stuff is on what's this called again?
Instagram.
Untapped, the meadery. No, it's on Untapped. It's on my Facebook page.
I think next time we should share our Untapped accounts on the show at some point.
Yeah. After the meadery, I went to Aleswork Brewing Company and had a flight. Now this is the second time I've been to this brewing company, and it will be the last time because I particularly don't care for their beers. Apparently, a lot of people do like them. I personally don't.
It's nice you would give him a second chance, though.
Mm-hmm.
I did give them a second chance because the first time I went, it was like the last place I went drinking, and I had been drinking everything from wine to whiskey and other beers. So maybe I was just overdrank before I got there.
I kind of hope you didn't drop any business cards at this place.
I didn't drop any business cards anywhere.
Yeah.
Then I went to Billsburg Brewing Company, which is a nice. The thing about the brewing companies in Williamsburg, most of them are decent beers, but there's nothing that wows you. You know what I mean? It's like it's a good beer, but I've had good beers everywhere else. You know, nothing that would make me go there again. Except for that place had a nice. No, was that one? Yes, that place had the nice scenery because it was right on the river, so you could see from you got the river right there. It had a very nice view and very nice ambiance. It did.
Ambience.
Then we went to a winery. It's okay winery. And then we went to 8 Shires. 8 Shires is the distillery that I went to before. And we each got a flight. Now, their flights are you get 1 free sample, and then they give you 3 samples for a flight. I had a single malt. I had their white whiskey and their spiced rum. Because I already had brought the bourbon home last time we were out there. Adrian had the gin, had the white rum, and the gold rum. Let's say, and she had one more. What else did she have?
This the place where she was giggling at the end?
No. That's a whole nother story. that was her Plaza Azteca Flags margarita.
Oh, the Jamaican margarita or no, the Mexican margarita, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's got 3 different margaritas, and then they give you an extra shot of the who is it? What's his name? Clooney tequila to put in it. Yeah, she doesn't feel her feet after. She is all giggly after that one drink. No,
Clooney
she
has
did not.
tequila?
Clooney has a tequila. Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought he just ate coffee. How about that?
But back to 8 Shires. They how they put it? They're old school in how they make the distillery. They've got a colonial distillery. They do it the way the old colonials did it. So most of theirs has a bite to it, but it's all really good. It's very expensive.
Called 8 Shires, you said?
8 Shires distillery. Yep, in Williamsburg.
It's not like Hobbit themed.
No. They have a
drink called the Prancing Pony.
They just have a little TARDIS inside, and we did this one thing in Busch Gardens. It was a cost extra when you do it, but it was a little speakeasy.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, when you buy it up front, you get either a flight of beer, a flight of cocktails, or a flight of wines. I got the beers. Adrian got the cocktails, but it's themed. It's a German speakeasy where they don't like beer. The Germans don't like beer. So. Yes, it's weird, but it's very fun. So I had yes. So at that tasting, I had Gummies Tropical IPA from Sweetwater Brewing Company. Very sweet beer. Pool Noodle Commonwealth Brewing Company lager beer.
Kev, you've had that before, haven't you? Pool Noodle?
I've had Pool Noodle, but mine came from Double Nickel. Had some fruit in it. They were sours.
Now this is a lager, so and the last one was. You know how many beers have the same name? Protocol Porter, which I'm not a big porter fan to begin with, and it was also from Ale Works. So yeah, I drink a lot, and I mean a
Sounds
lot.
Like it. Mm-hmm. Sounds like it.
But most of it was good. But like I was saying before I left about all the breweries closing down, it's one of those things. If you have to put yourself out, have something that's different from everybody else, and a lot of them they all taste the same.
Yeah,
and that's what I found a lot down there.
You said that, like, I feel the same way. Like when we go to the Finger Lakes, like there's not a lot of breweries that I like up there. Like we go mainly for the distilleries and the wineries and shit. But there's only one brewery I really like to go to, and it's because they have that standout like hard cider that I really like. Mm-hmm. And it's not just a brewery. There's wineries and a coffee shop and everything else like on the same site. So it's a lot of different things going on, and that's like the one place I really like. And it sounds like a wicked adventure, Mike.
Yeah,
remember most of it?
The breweries now Oh yeah, I remember all of it. It wasn't as short a time frame. It was like we go to one place, you have to drive a half hour to get to the next one.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So moving on.
It wasn't
Kev,
as
it wasn't what? You kind of froze there a little bit, Mike. What you say?
I said I didn't drink as much in a short amount of time as you might have thought it was. It's like every hour I was going someplace different.
Okay. So anyway, that moves. We're going to move on now to Kevin's segment. Beer news is good news. I'm not saying the joke I said in the pre-show. Let's try to keep this civil. Okay.
Beer is good. Beer is good. Beer is good. It's good. Beer is good. Beer is good. Beer is good. Let's go drink some beer.
I was fist pumping behind the logo. Okay, what do you got for us tonight?
All right. So this may be a editorial. Now that I'm going through it, it sounds very enjoyable, but I think I may hold off on this as it's an editorial. Because it's very few facts and very more storytelling. So I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to go to the next one, which is very important. It's out of the Arkansas Times. The title of this is Beer Spilled, Fish Killed After South Arkansas Train Wreck. Cleanup efforts in the wake of a Southwest Arkansas train derailment have caused a large amount of beer to spill into a nearby creek, state authorities said Wednesday, likely causing the death of hundreds of fish. Happy death of hundreds of fish. A Union Pacific freight train carrying beer derailed on Saturday near Highway 67 and South Elm Street in the town of Emmett, Nevada, and Hempstead counties. During the cleanup process, beer was discharged into a creek and traveled about a mile downstream, a Union Pacific spokesperson said. A hazmat team with the company is working to contain and remove the beer, the spokesperson said. But Union Pacific reported the incident to the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission and the State Division of Environmental Quality after dead fish were discovered in the stream. It's not clear how much beer was spilled, but photos and videos of the cleanup efforts on Sunday from rail historians Michael Hiblin show boxcars filled with cases of Modelo Especial being cleaned out by excavators. Keith Stevens, chief of communications for the Game and Fish Commission, said Wednesday that more than 400 fish have been recovered from the creek, including largemouth bass and bream, along with crayfish and mussels. Authorities haven't finished the sampling of the entire stretch of the stream.
And they're all on AA.
What's that?
They're all now on AA.
Yes.
I was going to say they recovered all these different species of fish and then threw them right into a giant hot pot. They've already been brined.
They're beer-battered fish.
They're beer-battered and brined.
Well, it's a chowder.
Stevens said that the fish likely died due to water quality degradation from the beer. The cause of the derailment is still under investigation. The Union Pacific spokesperson confirmed another derailment over the weekend in Arkansas. About 40 cars derailed about 6:30 p.m. on Friday, 2 miles northeast of Stuttgart during the heavy storm. No one was injured. No hazardous materials were released. Normal operations resumed, and the incident is under investigation. So, poor Modelo Especial, but those happy fish and their free brew. Yes, and I'm looking at the other one. It is a story. It's a funny story, but it's a story that I feel is not news, more of an editorial.
I really think we need to brainstorm and come up with a new name for your segment. Because like 80% of the time, it's not that happy. It's not really great news. We just talk about an environmental.
It's not good news.
We just talked about an environmental catastrophe caused by beer.
I mean, there was this one where a bunch of UN, diplomats got together, got drunk, and solved world hunger. But I didn't. I thought that was a little low key.
It was
You know,
a little too deep.
a little too political.
Yeah, we don't do politics.
He came up with the makes sense if you think about it accord during that beer session. We're going to take a break because I think we need one. And when we come back, we will go to our main segment, Films That Time Forgot. We'll be right back.
I love a good beer, but right now I could use a good cup of coffee.
Have you heard about Coffee Brothers?
Oh yeah, they're that coffee company out of New York, right?
Well, they're more like a coffee wizards of New York City. They source these amazing seasonal blends and single origin coffees. It's like a flavor adventure in every cup. And get this, they roast everything in small batches. None of that mass-produced stuff. It's like each bean gets the VIB treatment.
VIB?
Very important bean.
Sounds fancy, but is it worth it?
Definitely. Plus, they're a two-person team. I mean, that's dedication right there. Two brothers, one mission to caffeinate the world. And right now, you can save 10% on your order. I mean, who doesn't love a good discount?
All right, you've convinced me. Let's get some Coffee Brothers now.
Coffee Brothers, where every cup is a sip of perfection. Save 10% on your next order with the code FNF10. That's FNF10. Cheers to great coffee. Thank you for staying with us after that quick word from Coffee Brothers. We are back with our main segment for tonight's Season 9 premiere. This is the 8th time we have done this segment. It's one of our favorites. That's why we always kind of save it for the premieres. Films That Time Forgot. We're each going to talk about a movie that we remember fondly from our youth. We're going to give each other clues so we can try to guess each other's films. And after guessing it, we'll talk about them a little bit, talk about, anything we know about the film. Whoever picked the film is going to get a little trivia on it, all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to discuss whether or not that movie still holds up today. Spoiler alert, mine does not. And then we'll go from there. So, Kev, you said you were going to go first with this?
Yeah, I can go first with this.
All right. Let's have it.
All right. So let's see. I'll start with the year. It was 1980 something. 1987 to be specific.
1987.
1987. I must have been 8 years old. 8 years old. Yeah, that sounds about.
I was
right.
11. I was 11.
Do you want the director next? Director was William Deere. Okay.
That does not help me.
No. I will start with some of the lesser known actors and actresses and move my way up.
Okay.
We'll start here. Emmett Walsh was in the movie. Don Amici was in the movie. Lainie Kazan. David Suchet. Okay. Kevin Peter Hall.
Kevin Peter Hall played the Predator because he was a very large man.
Yes, he did.
So I am going to go with the only other movie that I know Kevin Peter Hall from, Harry and the Hendersons.
Damn, that was quick. That was quick. I was going to go through the kids and then finish with Melinda Dillon and John Lithgow.
I was going to say Kevin Peter Hall was the give for me just because I know that he's known for two things, Predator and playing Bigfoot. So while you talk a little bit more about it, I'm going to find the trailer for it so we can show it real quick.
So a little, synopsis. It's the Henderson family adopts a Sasquatch that they found while in the Washington Mountains. It is John Lithgow, who plays George Henderson, actually hits the Sasquatch with his car, and once realizing what it was, straps it to the hood of the roof of his car and brings it down because he believes it's dead and that this is proof. And what we find out is the Sasquatch is not dead. In fact, it's very, very much alive. And though terrified of it, the young boy who befriends it names it Harry. And the course of the movie, Harry becomes a family member, even though, there's debate as to whether or not to hunt it or kill it or study it or what. So it's a fun family tale for everybody in 1987. You'd watch this movie and then you'd go to Pizza Hut.
All right, I got the trailers. I'm going to show the trailer real quick,
okay, all right.
And then we'll talk a little bit more about it.
Eluded hunters, baffled scientists, and remained a mystery until the Hendersons bumped into him.
What is it? It's a major discovery. We have to take it home.
George.
It's alive!
My 15th birthday corsage!
Uh-oh.
George, he's coming back!
Stall him!
I can't! How?
Show him the pasta maker!
This is our home! Our stuff!
Sit. Exercise, Irene.
This is it. The whole world's gonna know. Ran away.
Means something to me. You see that? He means something to me.
We'll never see him again, will we?
What I'm going to say now might save his life.
There has been yet another sighting of the creature that some people are now calling
Harry.
Harry?
Since when does he have a name?
Since right now.
The average American family just got bigger. Harry and the Hendersons.
It's a fun movie.
I like how they strategically keep from showing him in the trailer.
Well, interestingly enough, that hurt them more than it helped them. They really wanted the discovery or the appearance to be a surprise, but because of the lack of seeing Harry, they feel that was to blame for its poor box office results.
I remember two things about this film because I haven't seen it probably.
Oh God
Christ, like 20 years maybe. I remember the scene where Don Amici decides they're going to use him to advertise, their business or whatever, and the advertisement makes him out to be this like snarling, horrible beast.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I remember is that it won the Oscar for Rick Baker for best makeup and special effects, beating out RoboCop.
That poor man.
So continue, sir.
It's a fun movie. I mean, the actors and actresses, we all know John Lithgow, right? Very successful. Melinda Dillon playing the mom from A Christmas Story, and she was in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The two children really didn't have much of an acting career after this movie. We know David Suchet, I'm guessing, as in Detective Poirot, wasn't he?
It was the BBC Poirot.
Yes. And Don Amici, we all know Don Amici from Trading Places. And
M. Emmett Walsh, who was 120 years old since he was 20 years old.
Interestingly enough, he plays John Lithgow's father, but he's only 10 years older than John Lithgow.
It's because he looked 50 years older than everybody he's been in any film with.
The movie spawned a TV show, which
did.
actually had 3 seasons.
Did it? I remember watching like 2 episodes and thinking it got canceled.
Ranging from 1991 to 1990. Well, 91. Hold on. 90. Okay. Started, I guess, in January of 91. Had a full season in September of 91, and then had another season renewed in September of 92.
I'd be curious to know if Kevin Peter Hall played him in a TV show too.
I can tell you, it was Patrick Piney.
I wonder because
We all remember Patrick Piney, don't we?
Yeah, Kevin Peter Hall died very young, tragically, from AIDS contracted from a blood transfusion.
Oh wow!
So I wonder, this might have been like after he had already passed, because he had done Predator, then he did this, and
he wasn't also the alien in Alien.
No, because that was earlier in the 80s. Well, the first Alien was 1979, and then Aliens was 84.
Mm.
This came out in 87, which is the same year Predator came out. So he did this and Predator in the same year. Yeah. I have the taglines here. You want to hear the taglines?
Sure.
According to science, Bigfoot doesn't exist. When you can't believe your eyes, trust your heart. He wasn't invited, but he's not an intruder. He's not exactly a friend, but he's becoming part of the family. Someone worked really hard on that one.
I think it was the taglines that hurt it in the box office, not going here.
Coming this spring, a whole new breed of entertainment. And lastly, according to science, Bigfoot doesn't exist. And they combined the first two taglines. Bigfoot doesn't exist, but when you can't believe your eyes, believe your heart.
That should be a whole new episode we should do.
What,
cheesy 80 taglines.
Oh, I think I have an episode about all about taglines, like lined up.
I think we've done one before, yeah.
We did it as like a game before, where I think I gave you the fucked up tagline. You had to guess the movie.
I think we could do a whole show on it.
We should just do a show where we write our own taglines for films.
One thing I really liked about the movie, something that stands out, is that Bigfoot is a vegetarian. So I remember, I'm guessing, I mean, I don't know if there was a contract with either Burger King or McDonald's, but I do remember George Henderson coming home with a shit ton of like Big Macs or hamburgers or something, and tries to give them to Harry. And Harry looks at the beef and tosses it away, and he goes, "Oh, that's right, you get the fish," and gives him the fish instead. So
interesting.
Some fun facts. This was Rick Baker's favorite character.
That's because Rick Baker normally worked on horror films.
One element that Rick Baker included on Harry's appearance, his face, was that part of Harry's face had elements of like an orangutan, particularly the beard. The drawing of Harry that appeared in the film, the one that there were two drawings. There was the evil one that you remember, the vicious one, and then there was the kind-hearted one that was done by John Lithgow's character. But this is probably the one done by Rick Baker. I already told you about Emmett Walsh. I told you about the producers keeping the appearance. Oh, Kevin Peter Hall was already 7 feet 2 inches tall, but they had to make him a little taller. They had his height increased to 8 feet. And part of the reason was for this was because John Lithgow is 6'4" himself. So by comparison, Bigfoot was not as big, naturally, at least.
So he was he was slightly bigger foot. John Lithgow was the Bigfoot himself.
According to cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman, some of the characters were actually based on Sasquatch researchers. So Jacques Lafleur was a nod to the late Canadian Rene Dahiddin, and Dr. Wallace Wrightwood combines qualities of John Green, Peter Byrne, and the late Grover Krantz.
I had one problem with this film.
What's
they
that?
never actually answered the question. You know what they say about big feet?
You know what, though? There may be a joke in the movie that suggests that.
That's what I say.
I think
you know what
there
they say about big feet, big socks.
So in Don Amici's place where he works, his Sasquatch museum, there is a gremlin, the gremlin from Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, the Twilight Zone skit. There's one of them in his museum, and just by connecting the dots, John Lithgow starred in the similar skit for the 80s version of the Twilight Zone, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet.
They say they missed out on a good cameo there. They could have had a camera pan through the museum and just had William Shatner standing in front of the gremlin going, wow. Anything else? Yeah.
I'm trying to think. No. Film, okay. Takes with no. That's good. That's all I want to give to you.
Upon rewatch, would you say this film holds up?
Yeah,
definitely.
It's fun. It's fun. It's got a lot of heart. When I couldn't trust my eyes, I had to trust
your heart. And I always thought Bigfoot wasn't real. I watched this a lot as a kid, especially because my sisters both really liked the film. So it was like one of those things that was like kind of playing a lot in my household. But I can't say I've seen it, God Christ, probably since like the late 90s, longer than 20 years ago. But I might have to revisit this one because I do have fond memories of it. That was Harry and the Hendersons. And good news, Kev, I just looked at our show notes and I've been keeping a track of all the movies that the three of us have done for this segment. You've not done this one before.
No, this was not the one that I was thinking of. My the previous one was Dabney Coleman related.
Cloak and Dagger?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You did that one.
Yeah.
I thought I did, which is why I was avoided that.
Third or fourth time we did this. Yeah.
You did it, and I had to knock it off my list.
Yes, if you're ever if you're ever in doubt, let me know. I have it written down already. It might ruin it for me when we do the next episode like this, but whatever. At least I have it kept track of it. So, Michael, you're next. Go ahead and go for it. What is your film that time forgot?
Well, let me talk about the one I was going to do. So I went on IMDb to find out where I could find the movie to watch, and it said get tickets for showtimes. I went, what? So apparently the movie that I thought Tom had forgotten is now back in theaters, and that's now the never-ending story. So if it's in theaters again, I guess it's not forgotten then.
Never ending story. If you wanted to do a film the time forgot, you did Never Ending Story 2, the next chapter.
There was a 2?
Yeah, it stars Jonathan Brandis as the main character.
I know.
They have to outrun the speed of darkness.
It was that
there's
bad.
There's a third one. Did you know there's the third one?
I knew there's a third one too. I never even watched the third one. So I moved on to another one.
Okay.
This is a 1982 movie.
Okay, going back there.
Directed by Don Bluth.
Oh, this is an animated film.
It is. It is.
It's Don Bluth. It's animated. It's 1982. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't know if you would get Don Bluth as an animator.
Don Bluth.
He was the only competitor to Disney at the time.
Yeah, he did all the Hobbit films and the Lord of the
he was a
Rings.
Disney animator.
Yeah, but he
was a Disney animator first. Yep. This is the movie that made him go out on his own.
Secret of NIMH.
It was rejected. It is the Secret of
NIMH.
I wanted to guess, but I didn't want to ruin it for you just yet because I felt like you had more
sorry.
to go.
Let's edit that out. Let's go back.
Kevin got it. Yeah. So go ahead, Mike. Talk about it a little bit. I'll find a trailer.
Yeah. Actually, Don Bluth, John Pomeroy, and Gary Goldman all left Disney to pursue this project, which had originally been rejected by their former employer as too dark to be a commercial success. They were followed soon after by 20 other Disney animators dubbed the Disney defectors by the trade press. Yeah, this is right when Disney had a lot of animators just go.
I was going to say, without you even reading that trivia, I was going to assume that they left because Disney didn't want to produce this film.
Right. It stars the voice is of Elizabeth Hartman, Derek Jacobi, Dom DeLuise, Arthur Mallet, Hermione Badley, Shannon Doherty, and Will Wheaton.
Yeah, well, they were kids. Yeah,
they played the two kids. Yeah. Peter Strauss was also in it, and Paul Schneer. This movie is based on a book called Mrs. Bigsby and the Rats of Nim. To save her ill son, a field mouse must seek the aid of a colony of rats with whom she has a deeper link than she suspected.
All right. Before you go on, I have the trailer, so why don't we take a look at that real quick?
Okay.
A classic adventure in motion picture entertainment. I must tell you about Nim. Look there. It's a fantasy with wizards and villains. And heroes.
I ain't scared of nothing. I'm not even afraid of the Great Owl.
Will you hush up? Come on. Fantasy to another world. A world of fantasy and enchantment.
To what you see and hear, you must swear absolute secrecy.
It's the most beautiful sight I've ever seen.
You like me?
Of course I like you.
It's a story of friendship.
I mean, you don't think I'm clumsy or anything. What? I just need a few pointers to polish my style. I told you you'd love flying.
I don't know how I let you talk me into this.
It's a classic story of courage.
Why have you come?
And a world of danger.
If I hadn't actually been near a cat, I'd be sneezing my brains out. I'm allergic to hay. Excuse me, pardon me.
Get out! Run your lives!
Where courage is rewarded.
Oh, thank you.
A motion picture for everyone to share.
Oh, the poor turkey fell down.
I'm not a turkey.
Big buzzard, where's our meat? Done with her. You better tell her.
Discover the secret of Nim and rediscover the child in us all.
Oh, brings me back to my youth.
That movie, Watership Down, and The Black Cauldron gave me fucking nightmares as a kid.
Yeah, I think The Black Cauldron was Disney going, these movies, dark movies can make money. So they did Black Cauldron. They went, fuck.
Yeah.
Get into the secret of Nim.
Trivia question. What does NIM stand for?
National Institute of Mental Health.
Nice.
I just watched it like Thursday or Tuesday.
Cheater.
I need to watch the movie so I can talk about it. It's been years since I watched it.
It's been years since I watched this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Mike.
Let's see some trivia. I'm bringing up the trivia.
So how about them Eagles?
I know.
As
always, we are
at the time it's released, it was the largest non-Disney animated. Well, it takes it a while, to load up sometimes. At the time of its release, it's the largest non-Disney animated movie. Not a lot of real good trivia on here as you look at it.
This was
the biggest one was I thought this was United Artists that did this, but it was like still is no other company still did much against Disney until the 90s.
Right.
That's
This
when I
was their
think
jumping off point, though. This led to All Dogs Go to Heaven and The Land Before Time.
Yes.
And right, this was
Yes,
like
this
the
is what
get go for
this was the first one that led to all those others. Yes, Fightful, American Tail, and all those. Yes,
yep.
Anastasia, all those ones. Yes.
Yeah, because it was like the 90s.
With those were big, but they never became like what's the company that's out there? Those the ones.
DreamWorks.
DreamWorks. Yeah, they never.
Yeah.
And they never became like DreamWorks. They were out there, but they never became like a Disney or DreamWorks.
Right.
But I think they could have been because they had all the, as you can see in the trailer, that is a Disney style movie by animation. That has Disney written all over it.
And Disney had the history. DreamWorks had the clout between Spielberg and
right.
You know,
these were
was
just
Don Bluth taking it all as much as he could.
And with all the Disney artists that left, they took all the artists and just did what they could with it. This movie, I think, personally, could have been a little bit longer to give you more backstory and more
context,
understanding about more context. Because, like, I understand that they were in a mental institute and they showed you they get the injection, but how do they become magical with magical powers?
That's a good point. Yeah.
I get they get steal electricity. I get all that. The magical power part is what
the Nicodemus writing and seeing the things in the gem. Yeah.
That's the stuff that got me confused in this movie. Does it hold up? I think animation wise, yes.
Would
Story-wise,
you show it to your kids today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's a safe bet to show this to a kid today.
Mm-hmm.
I think Don Bluth is still making movies.
He probably is.
I'm trying to find out how old he is. He is, let's see here, born 1937, still alive. His last movie was
his last movie was a short
film in 2019. Because I'm looking at it, because there's a movie he did in 2000 that I really liked.
He is also.
What else you gonna say?
I was going to say all his credits that he has was like, my God, Sleeping Beauty, Sword in the Stone.
I was going to say, like, you were talking about films at time for
Robin Hood.
In 2000, he did a movie called Titan AA.
Yes,
which is a sci-fi film about civilization, like moving out, trying to find a new Earth and all that stuff. And it's not a film people remember. It wasn't a film that did really well, but it was a film that I remember liking a lot when I was, in my early 20s and that movie came out.
I looked up Don Bluth's credits before tonight, and what really got me with his credits was that he was the animator for Dragon's Lair and Dragon Lair's 3D Return to the Lair video games.
Oh yeah, you could tell when you look at that animation, it's very similar to like Anastasia and Titan AA and those things like that. Yeah, I used to love the Dragon Lair game. Could never play it. I sucked at it, but it was fun to watch.
Always ended up the skeleton, right?
Yeah, I always ended up turning into a skeleton. I have the taglines here if you want them.
Go for it.
Right before your eyes and beyond your wildest dreams. I don't get that one because this one gave me fucking nightmares, like I said. A world of fantasy, adventure, and excitement opens up for Mrs. Brisby when she discovers the secret of Nim. Let unforgettable characters from a new classic take you on a triumphant adventure of discovery.
Yeah, I think again this movie, what hurts it is it's only an hour and 22 minutes.
Yeah,
it could have gone a little longer, gave some backstory to some of the villain and some of the other stuff.
Look, got one more for you here. Animation in the Grand Tradition by a new master, Don Bluth.
That's a shot. That was a shot.
I would say the Grand Tradition is Disney. Yeah. That's a good one. The Secret of Nim. Yeah, it's been a real long time since I've seen this. Definitely longer since I've seen this than since I've seen Harry and the Hendersons.
I think it's on Prime.
Probably somewhere out there. I think it's a movie I'm sure
found
you probably find easily.
Yeah, but I found it like on Prime or one of the ones that you don't get commercials in. You watch it, you get commercials at the beginning, and you don't get commercials for the rest of the time.
It's not like Disney that puts their movies in the vault. There is no Don Bluth vault.
Yes. Well, part of his movies are in the vault.
Well, the Disney ones, yeah, the Disney vault.
Half his movies are in the vault.
All right. You got anything else you'd like to add about your film?
No, we can move on.
All right, let's move on. All right, I'm going to move to mine now, and this is our last film for the evening. And I guarantee you, I don't think any of you are going to get this one.
Hey, that's what I thought, and Kevin got it.
When I read the cast to you, you're going to be like, "What the fuck? This was a cast." My film came out in 1992, rated PG-13 for foul language, directed by Peter Bogdanovich, who is best known for directing the movies Mask with Eric Stoltz and Cher, and a nomination for Best Director for The Last Picture Show, which was the first movie of a very young Sybil Shepherd.
Yep.
But this movie that he directed in 1992 stars Michael Caine, Carol Burnett, John Ritter, Christopher Reeves, and Mary Lou Henner.
Oh, sounds off.
You're very close.
Oh, come on. I know I'm close.
I'm going to give it to you because you were really, really close. It's called Noises Off.
Noises Off.
Kevin is really good tonight. He did pretty good
Kevin,
tonight. Yeah.
Kevin is on a roll.
This is funny. I like this
Noises
movie.
Off. I thought it was really funny when I was a kid, and then I rewatched it for this, and I was like, man, it's a little disappointed. There's one sequence that's really, really funny, but then the rest of it was kind of like okay. But I'm gonna
get a play down, and there's it's going haywire, and everybody's on a different page.
So a traveling theater group gets into much drama behind the scenes, so much so they almost ruined a performance. That's the IMDb synopsis. Here's the real synopsis. When the sex farce Noises On opens on Broadway, director Lloyd Fellows, played by Michael Caine, cannot bring himself to watch. Certain the play will be a disaster, he recalls the regional opening months ago in Des Moines, Iowa. Lloyd, the director of an eccentric theater company, is desperately trying to get his production together, despite the worst efforts of the cast, the crew, and Lady Luck. We follow the production from final rehearsals through opening night and onto the tour. As with any group of actors forced to work closely together for any great length of time, romances and arguments are bound to break out. Quite often, what's happening on stage is nothing compared to the drama backstage. So here is my movie trailer real quick.
Once upon a time, in a place of make-believe, there was a little theater company that couldn't.
Sorry, folks. Am I doing something wrong?
They couldn't get their cues right.
What is going on?
They couldn't get their lines straight.
We'll only just manage to fit it in. We'll only just do it.
They couldn't even stand on their own 2 feet.
Are you all right, Gary?
Don't panic, don't panic.
He's all right.
Oh, well done.
Until a director was hired
Hold it.
Stop.
Hold it.
to take control.
God said hold it.
He started with the basics.
We know you've worked over in London in some very classy places where they let you make the play up as you go along. But we don't want that kind of thing here, love.
Developed their talent.
Would it perhaps be better if I came on a little earlier? Right, only a little sooner, a shade earlier, like yesterday.
Nurtured their creativity.
Let me just say one thing. No. Could I ask another dumb question? No.
And guided their every move.
Don't fall down, Tim. We may not be insured.
Now, if he can only get them to Broadway in one piece.
I'm starting to know what God felt like.
And what did he feel like?
Very pleased he'd taken his Valium.
They just might have a happy ending.
It's like the band playing on as the Titanic sank.
Touchstone Pictures and Amblin Entertainment present a Peter Bogdanovich picture.
Is it a party?
Noises Off.
I've worked with a lot of directors, but I've never met one who was so totally and absolutely, I don't know.
Beautifully put, Gary.
So the one thing the trailer gets wrong is that he's hired to get this troupe to act right, and he's there from the very beginning. He's the director that puts the cast together. There's a real funny line in there. He goes, "I'm starting to know what God feels like," and they're like, "What's that?" And he goes, "Like he's really happy he took his Valium this morning." So it's a play within a movie. It's based on an actual play, which was a play within a play.
It seems like it would be a good like meta kind of thing. You're going to see a play about a play being done, you know?
Yeah, you can kind of tell from the way that it's set up, and if you watch the film, like everything happens on stage, even the backstage stuff is on stage. So it's definitely like something that's an adaptation. It's an adaptation of a British play of the same name. A lot of the dialogue was changed for American audiences because, God forbid, you say fortnight instead of 14 days.
Bloody.
The title "Noises Off" is a stage cue. I didn't know this. I thought "Noises Off" meant like, shut the fuck up because we're going on live. But "Noises Off" actually indicates a stage direction for something that's happening off stage. So a noise off would be like you heard a gunshot off stage or something,
or
like
birds chirping, or train
so
noises.
It's noises that happen, outside of the audience's view, which is also a joke because a lot of the drama happens backstage out of the audience's view. A couple of like the really funny sequences in this, aside from that line from Michael Caine, is there's a running gag where one of the actors in the film is this older actor who's an alcoholic, and he's always trying to sneak off to have a drink. So there's this whole sequence where people are trying to keep this bottle of whiskey away from him the whole time they're performing, and he keeps ending up with the bottle of whiskey in his hand, and by the time they're done, like taking it from him, the bottle's empty. And then there's what's that?
Sounds like us.
Yeah. My bottle's empty.
My cans are empty.
Fine. And that's after already finishing that flask you gave me, Mike.
I was told to save some for Adrian and her mother. I saved a little.
So I thought the film was really funny when I was a kid, and then I rewatching it and I'm like, the only thing that was really, really funny is there's this 20-minute segment in the middle of the film. So they perform the play within the play like multiple times throughout the movie. But there's one segment where while they're performing it, you're only seeing everything that's happening backstage. And since they're on live performing for an audience, they have to stay quiet backstage. So everything that's happening backstage is happening in complete silence, from people yelling at each other silently to Christopher Reeve and John Ritter getting in a fight with each other because John Ritter thinks Christopher Reeve is sleeping with Carol Burnett, who John Ritter was already sleeping with. She's a cougar in the film. It's funny watching Jack Tripper from Three's Company beat the shit out of Superman. But they're like fist fighting backstage, but every time they punch each other, they can't scream or make a noise or anything, so they got to hold back. And then Christopher Reeve's character has a nervous condition where every time he gets super stressed out, his nose bleeds. So there's one point in their fight where John Ritter throws a punch at him, misses him completely, becomes so close to his face that his nose starts bleeding anyway because he gets all stressed out. There's a running gag where there's a little potted cactus plant that keeps finding its way around the backstage area, and Michael Caine keeps sitting on it throughout the entire show. So like that whole segment's really funny because it's cool to see like all this choreography that had to go into performing this like backstage thing while this other stuff is going on stage. But then the rest of it was kind of like, all right, we've seen this already, what's happening next,
right? Beating a dead horse kind of thing.
Yeah. So Gary, played by John Ritter, mispronounces Carol Burnett's character's name 7 times in the film. Her name is Miss Clackett, and on stage he calls her Miss Crockett, Clockett, Crackett, Blackett, Sprocket, Spratchett, Splotchett. And this is while they're performing live. Michael Caine only agreed to be in the film if the director also cast Denholm Elliott. Denholm Elliott plays the older alcoholic actor that gets cast in the play.
The guy from Indiana Jones.
Yeah, he's in Indiana Jones. He plays Marcus Brody, the friend of Indiana Jones. That's probably what he's best known for. He was also in Alfie in 1966.
He was also in Toy Soldiers.
Toy Soldiers. Yeah, he's a friend of Michael Caine's, and Caine really wanted him to be in this film because Elliot was a bisexual who had confided in Caine that he had contracted AIDS and didn't know how much longer he had to live. And knowing this likely was Elliot's last film, Caine insisted on his inclusion. He actually died a few months after the theatrical release of this movie due to complications from AIDS. Audrey Hepburn and John Gielgud were offered roles in the play. I don't know what roles they were offered, but they both turned them down. The play being performed in the film is called Nothing On. It's a sex farce. 4 of the stars in this movie co-starred with Muppets. Christopher Reeve and Carol Burnett were guest stars on The Muppet Show. John Ritter appeared on The Fantastic Miss Piggy Show. And Michael Caine, of course, played Ebenezer Scrooge in The Muppet Christmas Carol. John Ritter and Christopher Reeve died 13 months apart from each other in 2003 and 2004. John Ritter died from a ruptured aorta, and Christopher Reeve died from complications to his paralyzing horse accident that he had a few years before.
Wait. I'm sorry. Who? Oh, John Ritter. My bad.
Yeah,
okay,
John
sorry.
Ritter and Christopher Reeve.
Gotcha.
The film received mixed reviews from critics. The aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes says 59% of 22 critic reviews are positive, and the average rating on IMDb is 5.6 out of 10. And I kind of feel like it's deserving of that after rewatching it again. It wasn't as funny as it was when I was a kid. I don't think it held up as well. It probably is better as a stage play than it is as a movie. The film only had one tagline: the comedy where everyone gets caught in the act. Whatever. And as I said, this is not a film that I feel like holds up. I don't think like a younger, person would watch this and get a lot of entertainment out of it. If I'm going to watch anything from this movie again, I'm just going to watch that 20-minute backstage segment on YouTube or something because it's really funny.
I would probably like to see this on stage. I think I'd enjoy it as a stage play.
I think so too. And I know there's like clips of the stage version that you can see on YouTube, not like the full play, but you can see like little bits and pieces of it. I think it probably works much better as a play. Probably. So as we've been doing the last couple weeks, and I'm doing again tonight, I have a book recommendation for everyone out there. If you'd like to know more about films that may have been forgotten or you'd like to know more of, I have a book here that my friend Mike got me. It's called Movies of the 80s. It is a 900-page book that details important films from each year of the 1980s, from 1980 all the way up to actually 1990. The film gives history, the background story, production notes, trivia, quotes from the actors in the film. It's a really interesting book if you are a film historian or a film buff. It's edited by Jorgen Miller through the Bibliotheca Universalis, which is in Berlin. It's authored by a number of journalists and film historians from around the world and edited by this company. It's a really good book. So that was my recommendation for this evening. Mike,
I thought it was Mrs. Frisbee and the rest of them.
Yes. You have any beer trivia or history for us tonight, Mike?
Here's a beer history for you. The concept of different beer styles may have originated with the Babylonians, as it's thought their extensive and prolific brewing operations. Which one of you guys texted me?
My phone's on the other side of the room, and I'm too lazy to go get it, so it wasn't me.
Kevin.
It's me.
What did Kevin text?
I don't know.
It's a movie suggestion. We'll talk about it after the end of the show.
All right, go ahead, Mike. The Babylonians, something.
Prolific brewing operations produced as many as 20 different varieties of beer. Varieties may have differed with the availability of brewing grains, mainly barley and emmer, a type of wheat, but all were probably cloudy and sour.
See, everybody thinks the Tower of Babel in Babylon was a military, installation, but it was really
they were all drunk.
It was a multi-tiered brewery.
They were all drunk. That's why they spoke in tongues.
It was just slurred speech.
Yeah. I got a new hypothetical question I'm going to throw out there. If you've managed to get this far in the show, maybe you'd like to send us an email or answer this question on one of our many social media sites. I have a question for our listeners out there. I'd love to know what you think. What's the greatest decade for cinema? If you had to choose one decade, any decade, it could even be the 1890s. I don't care. What's the greatest decade for cinema? And tell me why you think it's the greatest decade. I was thinking about this a little bit when we were talking about some of the trivia earlier. And then when I think when you were talking about Harry and the Hendersons, something popped in my head about that. And I thought about it and I wrote it down real quick. And I'm like, I would love to know what people think because it's a hard question for me to answer.
Yeah.
Because, I love the 80s. I love their films. There's a lot of my favorite films are in the 80s, but the 70s has, The Godfather and Star Wars.
Alien.
And the 90s is like my formative movie watching decade because of Jurassic Park and other films. So I would love to know what people think is the greatest decade of cinema. Let us know what you think, and we will talk about it on our next episode and give you a shout out.
Do you have a P.O. box that we could write to?
We have a P.O. boxes. If you go to buzzsprout.com and look up our show, there is actually a phone line that you can text me your answer to.
Wait, last week we had a website. Now we have a text service?
We have a text service through buzzsprout.com. Yes. It's not my actual number, but a number that will feed your text to me on my phone. So if you would like to text me your answer, you can do that too.
Really moving ahead into the future.
Technology.
I can tell you one thing about your question there, Lee.
Yeah.
I can tell you which one's not. And that would be the 2020s.
The 2020s, yeah. So far I haven't. There's only one film that's really impressed me in the 2020s. Actually, two films. It's Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2.
Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer didn't last with you?
Who?
Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer. Yeah, Oppenheimer is really good too.
But everything else is a remake of somebody else wrote it last, 10 years
Well, the
ago.
only other original film I saw was Saltburn, and that movie could go fuck a wet grave because I'm done with that film.
And Barbie.
Well, Barbie was okay. All righty. All right, so speaking of films that time forgot, Kevin just brought to our attention a movie that none of us have ever even heard of. It came out in the same year as my film, 1992. It's called The Ring of the Musketeers. Kevin, who is starring in this film?
Well, just the best actor ever. Not Burt Bacharach. What was I going to say?
Burt Bacharach. The fuck did you get that from? You're the one who brought this to us.
David Hasselhoff as John Smith, D'Artagnan. Thomas Gottschalk as Peter Porthos. Cheech Marin as Bert Aramis. And Alison Doody as Anne Marie Athos.
So they gender flipped one of the Musketeers.
Yep.
So the movie's called Ring of the Musketeers. I've never heard of this. It features a song sung by David Hasselhoff. If you're interested in this film, folks, you can watch the whole film for free on YouTube right now.
We'll put a link on our website.
I'm gonna just for shits and giggles play the trailer for you right now.
Leo's gonna watch it this weekend.
I probably will.
Are here, fighting crime, riding Harleys, and getting acquainted with their newest member.
May I present the fourth Musketeer?
All right, Musketeers!
A crime boss is out for blood.
I have an important job for the Musketeers.
But Cheech will be ready for it.
Bullseye!
A little uptight. These guys are very dangerous.
And when the mobsters cross the line,
This guy kidnaps a boy, and we're supposed to forgive and forget.
Yes!
the Musketeers get all the help they need. It's an adventure that's all for one and fun for all.
The Musketeers were formed by the king.
Elvis? It's the Musketeers like you've never seen before. With Baywatch star David Hasselhoff, born in East LA's Cheech Marin, Corbin Burnson of Major League, Alison Doody of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Thomas Gottschalk of Driving Me Crazy, and Raiders of the Lost Ark's John Rhys Davis. Ring of the Musketeers. 2-pack savings. Ask distributor for details.
Are you fucking kidding me? I'm so hammered right now. I'm watching that shit tonight.
Okay. Would you have to tell your audience your stars are from these other shows?
How did they drag poor John Rhys Davies into that?
I don't know.
Thank God the Lord of the Rings came around 10 years later. Jesus.
Corbin Brock.
I'll let you guys know how it was next time we meet up. Oh my God. Well, folks, thank you for joining us tonight for episode 152, Films That Time Forgot, including a Kevin bonus film. In case you're wondering, our films tonight were Noises Off, The Secret of Nim, Harry and the Hendersons, and the bonus film, The Rings of the Musketeers.
Which will be our next episode when we all watch it and we're going to review it.
Oh, right. That's what we should do. We hope you enjoyed listening to the podcast tonight as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Don't forget to let us know what you think of our hypothetical question. What's the greatest decade for cinema? You can send it to us at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com to find all of our social media and podcast links. You can support us on Patreon, buy our merchandise, teespring.com. We're on Reddit now. Or you can go to deluxeeditionnetwork.com to find out more about us, the other network podcasts, as well as the podcasts of the month, Barrel Aged Chicks and Barstool Film School. That's The Den at deluxeeditionnetwork.com. Make sure you stop by the crossroads between Pickled and Fermented next time around for episode 153. On our next episode, we're each going to pick our own list of films that deserve the sequel but never got one. That should be a pretty fun episode.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
This has been the Films and Fermentation podcast. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We call him Mikey Time Delay.
I don't know what's going on tonight.
Fuck, you take 2 weeks off, Mike, and this is what happens.
I don't know what's going on tonight.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us for our season premiere. We'll see you next time around.
The Deluxe Edition Network, also known as The Den, is an incredible podcast network that offers a wide variety of entertaining and informative podcasts.
This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.